if you put your matrix chart into ChatGPT, it showed me all the content pillars and like what creative direction like I can take. What does yours say about like partner and emotional depth?
So mine for emotional evolution summary. You're learning that true intimacy doesn't threaten your freedom, it enhances it. Here's what your emotional path looks like. Early relationships may have been intense, karmic, or marked by repeated patterns. Emotional freedom becomes non-negotiable. You want love that flows, not one that restricts. I always say I don't need any more lessons, but clearly I'm being tested because I haven't learned my lesson when it comes to self-worth. So I think this is telling me that I need to maybe reevaluate my self-worth and put myself first. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of
Just One Bite.
I'm Tiff at Take One for the Road.
And I'm Nina at Psychofood. And today we always laugh at the intro, but we wanted to do something a little different. And it's just something that I saw on TikTok actually. And we wanted to share like how to do like a destiny matrix chart. And I don't know if you guys already know or are familiar with like numerology, but it's basically like a chart that makes like your own matrix of numbers according to your birthday. So I saw this thing on TikTok where like a girl like put like her life, or she finds her life path number like from this destiny matrix, which I think is something people are also familiar with because it's like a designated number from like 1 to like 9 or something.
Well, I don't know anything. Nina just gave me a quick run through really fast. So this will be nice for our viewers who don't know what this is too. And then we can kind of just walk through our charts. And then if it's something you guys are interested in, you can also, you know, input your information to find out what your destiny chart is. And I think it'll be fun to just see if it's realistic or not.
It's basically where like you can see based on like your numbers and based on your life path number of all your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, and it also like will read other parts of like your life. So I'm actually seeing over like a TIFFs where it'll also like read like your like purpose in like your career, your personal life, your love life and stuff. So that's basically where it all kind of comes about. But it's very simple to just find your matrix chart. You can even just Google it, and then I think Tiff used like
matrixdestinychart.com.
So it's, you put your birthday and then it should come out with like a list of things that are related to you. So maybe what I'll do, so after like if you're looking at this and maybe following along, I can read off of like what the differences in like numbers are from like 1 to like 8, which I think are like the life path numbers. So basically like number 1, if you get that as like a life path number.
Wait, what number is this?
Would this
be the middle of the chart?
So the middle number is like your life path number, and that's kind of like your guiding principle for like most of like your life, and then everything on each side of it. I don't know if you want to show your like matrix.
Well, you can just put like a picture here for people to see.
But basically it's like you have like a top number and there's like numbers like in between, like, and then on the side, but then the middle number is what most people like focus on. So starting with like 1, they said usually if you have that as a number, it represents like leadership, independence, individuality, but it can also manifest as ego or self-centeredness.
Well, I'm not number 1, so
I'm not number 1.
What is yours?
I think I'm I'm reading like from my matrix. I'm number 5, but for also like the listeners where they're gonna do it, they might see what the other ones are. Number 2, it symbolizes harmony, balance, and intuition, but it may also indicate indecisiveness or a need for partnership. If you're number 3, it conveys creativity, communication, and self-expression, but can be associated with vanity or of a lack of focus. If you represent number 4, it is based on practicality, responsibility, and stability, but may lead to rigidity or a fear of change. It's a lot of itties for that one. If you're number 5, like myself, it may signify adventure, change, adaptability, but can also manifest as restlessness or a lack of focus, which...
Is that you?
Yeah, I think also like my zodiac sign is kind of like in that realm of like adventure and then independence, but then for me too, it is kind of hard for me to like focus, and because I'm always wanting to think about the next thing, and then sometimes I have to learn how to like slow down and stuff. But we can get into it a little bit later.
Okay.
If you're number 6, it indicates relationships, loyalty, and compassion, but can also involve dependence or need of approval. If you're number 7, it represents spirituality, insights, and wisdom, but may manifest as isolation or a lack of action. If you're number 8, it symbolizes abundance, success, and power, but can also involve materialism or desire for control. You're number 9?
Yeah, I have mine here.
Yeah.
So number 9 represents wisdom, compassion, completion, and service. You're here to give back, possibly through humanitarian efforts, creativity, or mentorship. You may be very intuitive and feel a strong sense of a mission or higher calling.
Do you feel like that relates to you a little bit?
I don't know about the wisdom part. I'm not that bright. No, I'm kidding.
No, I think you have a lot of wisdom.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I do think I have a lot of compassion, and I do think I like to give back through like humanitarian efforts, creativity, and mentorship, because I do that with volunteering with the Red Cross, like the leadership development camp I do every summer. Yeah, you
do a lot of like volunteer work, which I think for some people it's not necessarily like a calling, but I feel like for you, I've seen it be a true calling like year after year, so that's a good thing. But yeah, so basically like your central number is just kind of like what represents you and kind of is like the basis of everything. The other things that are like part of aside from your life path number, there's also like your like top, left, bottom, and right number. So usually like the top number represents like the one that's like the top of the matrix. It's like how your energy is and like your destiny is. Yeah, so for me, my number is like 3, and it says it's about creativity.
Mine is also 3. Wait, right? Like this
yeah. So like your top number, it's basically what like represents like how you read your energy, and I think too it will. It's just, I guess it's a little bit more in detail of like what is your life path aside from just like your personality. So the way that number 3 is, it's about like your creativity, communication, and joy. It suggests you have a destiny linked to self-expression, possibly through art, performance, writing, or public speaking. And the advice that, I don't know if it shows it for you, it says like use your charisma and creative gifts and avoid scattering your energy or becoming overly superficial. Which, you know, like, I think when you're, like, so busy with, like, doing stuff creatively, like, you're, like, you want to do all things.
Caught up, yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah, so it's kind of, like, cool.
Wait, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What question did you ask to get?
Oh, yeah, and by the way, too, this is something I saw on TikTok. Like, TikTok is literally, like, my favorite thing. But aside from finding the Destiny Matrix chart, I saw the suggestion to put your Destiny Matrix chart in ChatGPT and then have ChatGPT basically give you a summary of your whole matrix chart and like a breakdown of like your life path and understanding it and stuff. But yeah, like it also will give in detail of like if you want something specific. But for and then so it also will like tell you like what like your inner self like would react, but also in this matrix too, because it's like kind of age based,
Okay.
and because it's a lot like number based, it will also give you like lessons for each time period. So another suggestion or another part of this matrix on the outer numbers, there is like a left and right number, but starting with like the left number, it actually represents what kind of like your lessons are from the age of like 0 to 30. So
this one.
Sorry, left.
Okay,
yeah,
left.
this side.
Okay.
Yeah. And so these kind of are numbers that will shape like your like early development, and it might like show you how your childhood experiences are and how like those early stages, what kind of like principles and discipline that you like adapt. So for example, like for mine, it shows that I was encouraged with like a lot of creativity, which is true because my parents, like especially my mom, she put me in a lot of like arts activities, like whether it was like singing, like dancing, like and just any type of art. But for other people too, like this would also probably represent how your development is, like if you got into sports and then let's say that you're someone who's really athletic or really like disciplined, it will kind of tell that spiritual like insight of like how you get those principles and just overall morals at the beginning of life. And also this is because from 0 to 30, it will also show you like what kind of transformations you will like feel. And I guess that's the same thing too with like your right number. But your right number actually represents from the ages of 30 to 60, and it kind of represents like your middle time of life. And sometimes this is like an instance where you'll see like some karmic cycles that you might have seen like in early childhood development, and then you probably will be revisiting like some like emotional feelings that maybe you didn't or did not overcome at those early stages of development. And then also for me, like it also serves as a purpose of how to reinforce like your soul path and stuff. But it's also just a lot of like lessons that it's just trying to remind you of how to like take things at different stages of your life. So for example, one of my right numbers, it says a reintegration of family and responsibility themes. So I see that in my left numbers, it mostly is dealing with transformation and challenges with like growth and stuff. And I did develop like an early sense of responsibility and family and harmony. So my right number is saying reintegration of that. So it's just kind of telling you to like revisit it. But the bottom number, that one is like your 60 and above lines, but then it also is like your karmic lessons. So usually it will like tell you what you need to, like, you know how when you're old and sometimes like people feel like they regret things in life, or I noticed that elderly people tend to let go of things. So it's basically a bottom number that will tell you what your spiritualizations are and what is like you need things that you need to let go.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that was like a lot of like spitting at like words and stuff, but it's pretty like interesting just the way that it I guess ties in together of like your matrix chart. But it can also like tell you with like love and like career and stuff. But
it's very interesting.
Yeah. Is there like things that you're seeing in your like just from an overshot?
Yeah. So I put mine into ChatGPT, and it basically, so my right hand number, the number 5, I guess that's my age focus. So the 5 energy represents a year of change, freedom, and movement. You may experience transformations in relationships, career, or personal growth. It's a good time to take risks and explore new directions. So I feel like that's pretty accurate, especially when it comes to my relationships and stuff. I do feel really free right now. Ever since I ended things with Cybertruck.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think right now in the next couple months I'm going to be traveling a lot and just like really putting myself out there and just you know, enjoying my freedom, doing things, and like we'll see where life takes me, you know. So yeah, and then I'm looking at, so it's telling me male and female generations lines. I don't quite understand that.
Oh yeah. The one that
Do I just read the female line, or do I read both the male line and the female line?
it basically like the male and female are like what you have received from like either parent, like
Interesting.
yeah, like what kind of like things were passed on from like your mom's side or your dad's side. So sometimes they're characterized by colors. I don't know if yours says something
Yeah,
different.
so mine says male line is blue with the numbers 19, 10, 9, 21, 12, 15. You've inherited a mix of analytical, which is the 10, spiritual is the 9, creative is 15, and leadership oriented 19.
Oh.
So those are the traits I inherited on the male line.
Wait, that's kind of interesting because I feel like your dad is like pretty like
he's definitely a leader. He's
Yeah.
very creative. He's very analytical. So I do feel like I inherited that, like all of those, and I am pretty spiritual, I would say.
yeah. Mine also says mine has strong spiritual inheritance and karmic lessons from my paternal line. Possibly intuitive or emotionally intense men in your lineage, which technically the zodiac stuff is different than the numerology stuff, but my dad's actually like a Cancer, like on the zodiac side, and they're actually known to be like really emotional people.
Yeah,
so,
I'm supposed to get along really well with Cancer,
Oh,
apparently,
you'll
because I'm
be-
a Pisces.
yeah, you'll get along with my dad.
Oh yeah, we get along just fine.
Yeah, so my dad has like just like strong feelings, and I know he's like passionate about stuff, so I guess that makes sense in the male relationship line.
Yeah.
And by the way, like I know we're jumping out like a lot, but even in these like numerology, you can tell like what your relationships are with people, and what we're referring to right now is the family lines.
Yeah.
So but yeah, what does it say for your maternal side?
So my maternal side has themes of independence, which is represented by the 5, emotional strength is represented by 14, and healing with 17. You may be meant to break generational patterns or embrace a new kind of feminine leadership.
Oh, do you think your mom is kind of like sort of related?
I think so, because I think growing up, my mom had to be really independent. And, you know, she basically, her dad wasn't quite in the picture. So I feel like she went through a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe because of that, she like, you know, I look up to both my parents. You know, I don't think I'll ever like achieve the success they've achieved, like coming from a different country, putting themselves through school.
Yeah, they have like different
jobs.
challenges.
Yeah, so I feel like I definitely look up to them in that sort of way, and I think I am very independent because of them. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, like mine also is so mine is like a red for the female line, and it says passes down strong independence, transformation, and mostly aligns with my soul path number. But I do see my mom being like pretty like independent.
Yeah.
She can like handle it herself, so I don't think.
I think that passed down to you too, because you are probably one of the most independent people I know.
Yeah, I'm also an only child, by the way.
That
For
explains
people
it.
know. So like not only am I like an Aries, which they're also known to be like independent, like I'm an only child, so I have to be independent. Yeah, and then I guess also I just learned to be a bit more like solo, but yeah.
Very cool.
Do you feel like your sister is like independent?
Yeah, I think she's pretty independent as well.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe like there's some tie with like relationship wise with you and your sister
yeah.
from like your parents, I guess.
Yeah, we're both pretty independent people.
Yeah. Also like in these like relationship in these like lines, it can also tell you like where like relationships will flow, where money will flow, and then also like there's like one more Oh yeah, like your
Soul
talents
Purse.
and inspiration.
Oh,
So
I don't have that one.
yeah, so maybe what we could do is like,
I see the love line and the money line here,
okay, why don't we do the love line like first? So like,
Okay.
sometimes these are also called like your heart path. And then I think they're part of, I'm trying to see what zone. Okay, yeah, your heart lines are kind of like at the bottom of like the matrix
Yeah,
chart.
mine is on the lower right.
Yeah, lower right. Yeah, lower right
Yeah.
quadrant.
So maybe we'll just leave ours there so people can refer to it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
mine is identified with a heart icon, apparently.
Oh yeah, I think I also have hearts.
Perfect.
Yeah, located between 9 and 18.
Oh, mine's 5s and 19.
Ooh.
What does yours say?
For the love path, my number is 9, and it represents universal love, compassion, emotional wisdom. You're capable of deep love, but may also sometimes attract people who need healing. And the lesson is that you don't lose yourself trying to fix others, but you maintain emotional boundaries and seek balanced relationships. Actually, I feel like the terms of like balance, that's something that I prioritize a lot. I feel very like unstable if things are unstable, and I want to return back to a safe zone.
Yeah.
So I can see why it's saying like I need the balance, but I need to heal someone. No, I think we're all like on our own creative like journey, or I mean like healing journey. Yeah. So yeah, what does yours say?
Mine is like scary how accurate.
Oh, really?
It is. Yeah. So mine says surrounded by 5s and 19. This suggests that love is closely tied to personal freedom and transformation. You may need space or seek adventure in relationships. The present of 19 shows a karmic lesson around self-worth and individuality.
Oh my gosh, that's like speaking to Tiff a little bit.
Oh no, this speaks to me a lot because I think I always say I don't need any more lessons, but clearly I'm being tested because I haven't learned my lesson when it comes to self-worth. I definitely have a tendency to put people before myself. And I sacrifice a lot for the other person. So I think this is telling me that I need to maybe reevaluate my self-worth and put myself first. And yeah,
Yeah, the term of like matching like your adventure and energy,
Yeah.
I feel like that's been a consistent theme that we keep like talking about too with Tiff, where like the next person that she's dating, I would hope that they are able to like live similarly to the way that Tiff sees life as like excitement. Yeah, because it's hard to like be the one who's like leading, you know, unless that's something
I'm,
that
like, always leading. I'm always planning all the fun things, and like I love doing that. But for once, I want someone who's like gonna match me, also wants to do those things. Maybe we'll go out of their way to also plan things like that.
Because there's some people who I think strive well with being like the leader-ish in the relationship because they want to, they're very like maybe type A or something, and they really like being able to like schedule and organize whatever like dates and make everything like really good, and that it bothers them that if something is slightly messed up, and they would rather lead. So I understand that too, because I'm kind of like that, but
like I get it, but sometimes I just want to turn my brain off.
Yeah, with the right person too.
With the right person, you know, like I feel like in past relationships my brain was always on, and I had to be the one that's always like thinking next steps, you know, like looking out for things or like planning things, and I'm tired.
Yeah, no, it gets tiring. I feel like if you, and that's kind of different than, aside from all this like soul path and numerology, that if you are having to put like so much effort and you don't feel like the effort is like in return, because there's people too, like maybe their strong suit is like really organizing things, but then the strong suit of someone else is really like getting them to try new things and relaxing and enjoying like the peace and stuff that maybe like people who are really busy might forget to value. So it had like there's a purpose, and if you feel like that value of someone who's able to give you like peace and stuff is really, really impactful for you, then that will make things equal. But if you feel like they're just too relaxed or they're just dilly-dallying and not putting effort, then, and it's not just for you giving peace to you, I don't think it's really an equal relationship. But
there needs to be balance.
The other part of like your love and relationship number, or like that section, it also shows like your partner and like I guess your emotional depth. So mine says my number is 18, and it says it's a deep emotional number that can point to illusions or over idealizing a partner. It can also suggest a karmic connection in relationships, intense but sometimes confusing or draining. And the advice that it gives me is to develop emotional clarity and intuition to avoid falling into cycles of emotional codependency. Yeah, I mean,
how does that make you feel?
I feel like I can see like there being challenges when it comes to like wanting to like be with your partner like all the time, because I do feel like I want to be with like my boyfriend like all the time. But I feel like for me the lesson of over idealizing a partner is not the same anymore, because I feel like I've been with people that other people in the past that I think I really held them at such a high regard, but I don't think they were that special. Well, I mean, like not like talking about like my current boyfriend, but like the people before him. So I felt like the other people who were really like important in my life, that they were like the end all be all. Like I felt that they were like the number one, and all their flaws were not something that I saw, and it was not as bad of just being it's not like I wasn't seeing the value or the devalue of who they were, I guess. Like all their perks and stuff were actually worse than what they are, if that makes sense. Like I felt like they were just like a perfect being, and then I didn't see like their flaws or something.
Is it because you maybe saw them for their potential?
Maybe not really potential, but I actually was just blinded by
the rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah. Not that I was like, I don't know if it was necessarily like love, but it was just like, okay, maybe they're like not the nicest people, or like, because I just remember like the people that, like my friends and stuff, like the people that I was like really like close with, that I develop like, oh, I don't want to like be around other people, like I hate people and stuff, and that was because I was like influenced by someone else. And I'm like, I don't really have that mentality like, oh, I hate the world, I hate people, I hate like friends, and I was just like, oh yeah, me too, but I didn't really feel that way. And then I think from an outside standpoint, that wasn't really like a good like influence, so I think that's where over idealizing like a partner can come to play, because I would just be like, yeah, that's true, like I hate everyone. But now I don't really feel like I don't over idealize like a partner.
You kind of just see them for
who they are. Like you can't change people, you can't like alter their personality, and then if you really like love someone, then you love for who they are, so why would you want to like really change them, right? And it's not even like about like looks and stuff too, because that one is like you can influence someone, but it's like a personality is something that you can't change. I agree. What does yours say about like partner and emotional depth?
So mine, for emotional evolution summary: you're learning that true intimacy doesn't threaten your freedom, it enhances it. Here's what your emotional path looks like. Early relationships may have been intense, karmic, or marked by repeated patterns. Emotional freedom becomes non-negotiable. You want love that flows, not one that restricts. You thrive when your emotional world includes open communication, personal space, and shared adventure. A partner who supports your independence but emotionally shows up fully. So my deepest love lesson is How do I stay true to myself and still open my heart without fear or self-abandonment? So I feel like reading this, it's really interesting because when it comes to emotional freedom, I feel like in past relationships, I did feel very restricted about who I could or could not hang out with. And I felt also like everything I did, I would include my partner, but that caused me to realize what I actually want is someone who also has their own separate life, and then we can come together and share like adventures. Whereas I don't want both of our lives to just be like meshed into one. So I guess, and I think I definitely need someone who is emotionally available and can show up.
Yeah.
Because I tried the whole, emotionally unavailable man, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, I feel like if you're in a phase of being emotionally unavailable, like it has to be like a phase, or you're in that phase, because if you are wanting to if you're trying to live that lifestyle, you have to be with someone who's also willing to be the same like level of not emotionally like available. But it sucks to be like in a relationship where someone who's acting that way, they might feel like, I don't know, I feel like they might just be on a different train of thought.
Yeah, I mean, most of the times I feel like the people who are emotionally unavailable, I think they just like maybe, they have some sort of trauma, or like growing up, they just never felt safe to express themselves emotionally. And that's why this is like the world they know, where they aren't like, they can't express emotion. They can't offer emotional support for their partner either, because they themselves have never been able to experience that or receive that from somebody that they like care about. And so I feel like people like that have to not only be aware that they're emotionally unavailable, but want to work towards like fixing that, because I feel like it sucks to live in a world where you don't feel safe to express yourself. Like that really sucks. But not everyone is willing to fix that part of them. But yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's not fun. So
but
I don't know.
What is kind of like the advice that it gives you for?
I guess it's telling me
to just have someone
to stay true to myself when I still open my heart, I guess, despite, maybe the fears that I do have. Because I do feel like when it comes to dating now and relationships, I am scared, because over and over again, I'm opening my heart to someone, and over again, I feel like I'm being disappointed. And each time it gets harder, because every time that happens, I'm gonna want to feel more guarded. I'm gonna want to not open myself as much anymore, because I've been hurt so many times. But I guess this is what it's telling me, is like I should continue to like still open my heart, and like take that risk, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. Wait, did we ever talk about what the psychic told you?
No, not on the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Should I tell them?
Yeah, okay.
Quick little break, I guess. But basically, I went to New Orleans for my friend Amy's bachelorette recently. And then my best friend Kat bought me a psychic reading. And there's a lot of like psychic tarot readers in New Orleans, just like camped out everywhere. But this particular one we went to is because we were visiting the French market, which is kind of like a little marketplace where little vendors sell like little knickknacks, like crafts, jewelry, decor, clothing, everything, you name it. And we walked by a psychic reader, and she had like a little sign. Her name's Audrey. She's this lovely little lady. And we thought she seemed more legit, because Basically, it says she's been doing this for 50 years. She's the French market's only psychic reader for the last 30 years. She teaches tarot classes, and she's worked with the police. So that sounds already like more legit than most of the other readers that you might, come across in New Orleans. So for $40, I got a psychic reading, and she had me like shuffle the cards. She had me she held my right hand as I was like moving the stacks and things like that, because she told me that's how energy flows, is through your right side. I don't know. It was really interesting, because I feel like I never wanted to get psychic readings in the past, because I don't want to manifest something that is like bad or anything like that they might tell me. But with Audrey, I think she was mainly only telling me good things. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it, because I think Kat could tell I was really worried about my future when it comes to relationships, because I was like fresh out of my like most recent breakup. And I was just like, kind of sad and stuff. So she thought this would help me like ease my mind a bit, which I really appreciate. So Audrey's like flipping over the cards, the tarot cards and things like that. And she's like, this represents your past, your present, your future. And then the first card she like turns to read, the card is literally like a person laying on the ground with 1,000,000 swords stabbed through them. And they were like, she was like, oh my God, like, were you in your last relationship? I could tell you were really hurt. She was like, were you recently in a relationship? And I was like, well, the most recent thing is like a situationship, not a relationship. And she's like, okay, well, this is like, I think referring to your last relationship. And I was like, oh, then yeah. And we all know my ex, my like actual ex that I parted ways with like 2 years ago, that was really toxic, and it did a number on me. And I was very, very hurt in every way you can imagine. So that's what was interesting. And then she kept flipping the cards, and she was like, oh, but I can tell you've become more open-minded, which is true. Like, I've definitely put myself more out there. I've gone on dates with people. And for me, like, I never really have had a type. I vibe with, like, whoever the person is. First, So I was just, the last couple years, I've just been going on dates, putting myself out there, going on dates with people who, I don't even know if they would technically be, if I had a type, they would definitely not be my type. But I definitely met like all sorts of different people. So I can definitely, say I have been very open-minded and gracious. And
the psychic also told you like what your time frame.
Oh yeah, so she was like, I could see like you're gonna meet someone. So this was early April, right? And I was like telling my friends like, I'm probably not gonna download the apps until like at least June, maybe even later. And she was like, Audrey was like, I could see you're gonna, and Audrey didn't know this, right? And she was telling me like, oh, you're gonna meet someone in like 2 to 5 months. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I was like, had been telling my friends I wouldn't download the apps again for like 2 months. But then Audrey goes, but this person might not be your end person, so like go with the flow and have fun. And I was like, Audrey, I've been having fun for like 30 years. I don't need to have any more fun, right? Like, I want to meet my person. And I was like telling her, I was like, I'm older. Pretty much all of my closest friends are in long-term relationships, getting married, having kids. And like, I want that, so when am I going to meet my person? And she was telling me like, don't compare my timelines to other people. Like, if I'm meant to get married, if I'm meant to have kids, like, it'll happen. But then she was like, I can see like you're gonna be in like a long-term committed like either relationship or marriage. I don't quite remember, but she was implying like I'm gonna be really happy with the person I'm with within 4 years.
Yeah, so
I'm like, okay, great. 4 years. And then so I was like asking her, I was like, is this person new, or is this person from my past? Like, do I already know this person? And she was like, it's gonna be someone brand new. And she was like, whatever you do, don't ever go back to someone from your past.
Which is good.
And I was like,
that's a good lesson.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she's referring to Cybertruck.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then she was like, they might even be from like out of country, which is interesting because I'm going to Bali soon in a few weeks for May and Kevin's wedding. So I was like, oh, okay, very cool. And then she was like flipping the cards, and she's like, yeah, I could see like you need to be with an intelligent man, but there needs to be like some lust. And I was like, okay, great. Like, you know, this was really cool. So that was just like the relationship aspect. I definitely asked her about like career and health, and those things were just like nothing like too crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't need to dive into that. But yeah, so that was my experience with the psychic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty interesting. And this was like a 15-minute session.
Something like that, yeah.
Do you feel like she was really like reading you, or do you think it was like,
I don't know,
taking what you're choosing?
I mean, she was kind of like she was older, and because maybe her eyes looked more like foggy, it really felt
she was
like
mystical,
she was
like seeing the future.
Felt like she was like looking into my future or something. I don't know.
That's cool though.
She was really sweet though. And yeah, so I don't know if I'm gonna meet someone in 2 to 5 months. I don't.
That would be cool though.
But I'm just,
keep an open mind.
I'm keeping an open mind. I'm giving out like good positive energy. I'm willing to just like meet people, see where things go. And for once in my life, I feel so free.
Yeah.
Not worried about dating. And I think maybe it also has to do with like me, possibly freezing my eggs later this year. So I don't have to worry about my timeline. And so with that caused like, taking a little bit off my shoulders, I don't know. I just feel really free and happy for once, not worrying about like if a guy's going to text me back, or what they're doing or what they're thinking. Like, I truly feel very free. So it's very interesting that like even my your chart is telling me like when it comes to love, I need like freedom, or I'm gonna see like freedom and transformation right now.
Yeah, like I feel like a relationship shouldn't be like holding you back from anything that you're doing, and if it is, then it's time to get out of there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's kind of like some of the like relationship aspects of the matrix chart. But right next to that area is also the career and money like line. I think that's kind of like the inner, like if you're looking on like the matrix, it's kind of like the bottom right, but a little bit on the closer numbers, but it should tell you like about your career and your money. For mine, my number for material responsibility is 6, I guess. And mine indicates success through service, responsibility, and nurturing others. You may find fulfillment in roles that you care for people, like teaching, healing, hospitality, creative leadership, or food and entertainment.
Whoa, yeah, that's scary accurate.
I know. And it's so funny because if you put your matrix chart into ChatGPT, it will also tell you like what kind of like actually for me, maybe my ChatGPT just knows me, but it showed me all the content pillars and like what creative direction like I can take. So that was kind of interesting. But
very cool.
Yeah. What does yours like say?
Mine involving 5s, and I guess 5 and 19 are just my dominant numbers. Yeah. But it says financial growth comes through flexibility, entrepreneurship, and perhaps unconventional paths. You may have to face and overcome karmic money lessons tied to self-reliance and fears of scarcity.
Oh, I wonder what this self-reliance is about.
Yeah, so that's why I like asked for it to go into it a little bit deeper.
Wait, but self-reliance means like you only depend on yourself, or?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, for the most part, I do just depend on myself. Like,
and it's telling you
when it comes to money, like I don't ask, I don't get money from my parents or anything. Everything has been.
So it's telling you to not be self-reliant, or it's telling you to
the fear of maybe,
or maybe it's the fear that you're gonna do that forever,
and I don't have a partner to like worry about finances with. I have had those worries though. Like I'm like, how am I gonna buy a house by myself in this economy?
Yeah.
And I look at all my friends who like are looking into possibly buying houses, and it's like nice because not one person is burdened with that. It's like 2 people can share the cost.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I'm always worried about, you know, finding a partner and sharing stuff with, even rent, right? Like I do think, like I truly believe being single actually costs more than having a partner, because I'm paying so much in rent for a 1 bedroom, but if I was sharing it with a partner, it'd be way cheaper.
Yeah.
Which most of my friends are, you know, sharing rent with their partners. So that's definitely been on my mind.
What does it say for your like wealth line?
Let's see.
Mine is number 9, and it says money may flow when you're aligned with humanitarian values or artistic expression. Okay, so it's either community service or artistic stuff.
Okay,
and
so mine I think is kind of like yours, because mine says career path themes with 5 and 19 combined. Your ideal career likely involves creative freedom. So either like content creation or media arts, variety and change. So like freelancing, entrepreneurship, travel, consulting, leadership and independence, running your own business, directing teams, coaching.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Communication. So like podcasting, marketing, sales, and influence, branding,
so
community
funny.
building. So I feel like it's pretty spot
Oh,
on.
wow,
Both
yeah.
of ours are very spot on.
Yeah, it says mine doesn't chase wealth directly. It comes when you follow your heart and give value. So I need like careers that are like a little bit more meaningful with like without being like necessarily transactional. Which is that's a good advice.
That's good advice. I do see you, like, you definitely bring a lot of value when it comes to like your work.
Yeah.
I see it. I know your team sees it. Like everyone, like even the clients you work with see it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm actually reading like a little bit lower where it's showing like the career, which I think is in my career, I guess, combination, it says your ideal career path is content creator, storyteller, and public personality.
I'm telling you, Nina, you're gonna be a celebrity.
It also says,
don't forget me when you're famous.
No, we'll be famous together. It also says entrepreneur, so I guess that's similar to you as well.
Entrepreneur.
And then I have travel, culture, and adventure-based work. But it also says spiritual or transformational work, but I don't feel like I'm too... Oh my god, it literally says possibilities, tarot, numerology, and energy reading. Like, we're doing numerology right now.
That's so funny.
But interesting.
Does it tell you like shadow warnings and growth tips for your money line? Because mine are kind of, it's
I don't know. I don't
accurate.
think I see that one. What does it say for you?
So the first one says undercharging or giving too much.
Ooh.
Which is very me. Like I do undercharge a lot when it comes to brands. Like I give them a very cheap rate, and I do give too much, I think. So my healing practice is practice asking for full value.
Oh.
And then my other shadow is impulsive spending, which, if you know me, I love to spend money. And I'm an enabler when it comes to spending money. But, you know, my thought process is it just encourages me to work harder to make more money. So, yeah, it says build financial structure that honors your freedom, which I think I have, though.
Yeah.
And then the last one is burnout from multitasking.
Oh, yeah, I'm like that.
And the same. And then the healing practice is focus on aligned opportunities, not just more.
Not aligned, not just more. What does that mean, though? Like,
I think I'm interpreting it as like focus on things that align with maybe like, so opportunities that align with our values and things like that. Not just opportunities that would like make us more money that maybe we didn't really want to do, or we don't have time to go do something, but we're like, oh, let's just do it so that we can like either make more money or like get something out of it.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess maybe just like not spreading ourselves too thin when it comes to that.
Interesting. I feel like with the whole I just saw this TikTok of someone saying, oh, well, okay, if you're like with a brand, and then if the brand is like a fashion thing, and let's say that they don't do a lot of sustainable methods when it comes to like fast fashion and whatever, and they're like, let's say they offer you like 20 grand, you know, like, would you take it or not? And then it's like the risk of you being associated with that brand that you're not really like passionate about, or
yeah, like you don't want to come
it?
off as a sellout. I mean, even Alex Cooper said on her podcast recently that she turned down an $8 million brand deal because it didn't align with her values.
Wow.
I do find myself like being better about that though. Like I turn down, I feel like when you're up and coming as a content creator, you're just taking every opportunity you can get to build your portfolio. But now it's like I don't need to say yes to everything. And then I also just don't take things that I don't really believe in. Like I don't take any beer campaigns just because I don't drink beer. I don't really do any like CBD. Like I get CBD gummy requests all the time.
I get that too. I don't really like those.
I don't do that, so I'm not gonna like.
What are like ones that you don't usually like take aside from beer?
Beer, CBD. I get weird like sex toys, lubricant stuff.
Yeah, I don't.
And I'm like, I'm like, I'm like a food channel, like a food content creator, right?
Maybe it's someone's like desire for.
Dude, I don't know, but I mean, sometimes they are willing to pay like good money, but I have to be like, sorry.
Yeah, and it's a little hard to like keep up with like sometimes brands who, like, how there's a lot of what is that thing called where they're like they're a little like discriminatory and stuff to employees, and like for an example, like that one I'm not allowed to say this one store, the one that I like going to, but I'm not allowed to because I worked with another brand.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. So so right now I'm in exclusivity right now. But I think by the time this podcast comes out,
it'll probably be done.
but I'm like currently in this like window period that I'm not allowed to like talk or work with particular certain brands.
Yeah.
But anyways, like this one store, because they have like that issue with like they weren't like allowed to, or they weren't like supportive of like employees and stuff because out of like racial thing. And so, but anyways, like it's like stuff like that where it's like kind of unpredictable of like what a brand would do, and then some people really like pass on the opportunity because of like the environment of what's happening.
I mean, some of our friends have passed on big name brands because of just the
climate.
The climate that, the heat that brand is getting at the moment.
Yeah.
But no, I get it.
But sometimes these brands will like pay you.
They'll pay you fat.
They'll pay you like so much because they probably know what's happening like in their climate.
Know, but you don't want to hurt your brand.
Yeah.
I mean, recently, remember that one brand was really asking me to use their app to showcase like my Coachella pictures, but they wanted me to use a particular feature in the app to basically show that you can like change your body.
TIFF was fighting for this like so much, and I don't think the brand was getting a clue that
and I just tell them like I don't edit my body when it comes to pictures, videos, things like that. Like the only time I edit things, like I edit like color, like saturation, contrast, but never do I edit like my body, make myself look skinnier and things like that, because I just don't think that's like promoting the right message. And it's not who I am. Like what you see is what you get. Like it's very authentic. And I just told this brand like I don't want to like encourage my followers to use this app to change how they look. And then they kept coming back to me like, oh, we understand, but maybe if you phrase it like, oh, I looked bloated, I felt bloated that day, usually I don't look like this, but I'm still gonna use the app to make myself look skinnier. And
it's like the same thing but just like worded in a different way.
And they were willing to pay like good amount of money, but I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I told them like 3 times, I'm like, I'm like, thank you for the opportunity, but I'm gonna have to pass on this because it's not something like I align with. Yeah,
that's okay. But it's so ridiculous that you have to like fight for what you.
I'm like, it was interesting, but
But I mean, I guess that's what is kind of cool with like our insights that it's showing us. what I'm, I guess, reading from, sorry, what I'm like reading from this is like to be creative and be like, but like living bold and truthfully to like you and express the way that you want, because it's like my truth. So
Yeah.
what are you like overall like getting from this experience?
I think it's just telling me a lot about how I need to take my freedom right now to like to take risk, be a little more adventurous, you know, go with the flow with the changes, learn to adapt. I guess I have a lot of strong leadership and creative qualities, linked to also humanitarian efforts and giving back. And yeah, it's very interesting because I always feel like these things might be a little scammy, but it's scary how accurate it feels at the moment.
It kind of feels like, I know we put it all in ChatGPT, and for it to like understand, I'm like, oh, thanks for giving me a summary. But then I'm also like, am I too basic that it knows me too well? Like, or are there other people who are just like me and they just know the code, or like or ChatGPT just knows?
Maybe.
You know, but yeah, it's interesting.
It's definitely really interesting,
Yeah.
and I highly recommend everyone doing this. Thank you for sharing this with me, Nina. This is fascinating.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen people doing like, oh, like ChatGPT is my therapist, my like life coach, and my career coach.
Soon to be my boyfriend.
I know, yeah, and it's kind of fun, but yeah, that's just like a little thing that I just thought would be different. If you want to check this out too, you can probably just go to any of like the Destiny Matrix websites, but the way that we did it, we have to screenshot the matrix chart, and then we put into ChatGPT like, can you read my Destiny Matrix chart, and then attach your photo, and then it should like give you kind of like a breakdown. So.
Yeah, and you can ask for more details to dive into more things that you want to learn more about.
Yeah, like even for what I was saying earlier, like it gave kind of a breakdown of what my content pillars are, but then it also like gave me a breakdown of like how I can make my income streams. And so because I'm very like entrepreneurial, it always or it's been giving me stuff like, oh, like do content monetization or consulting or sell like a product. So I think that's pretty like relevant.
For sure.
Yeah, and then what's cool too, I think I tasked it to just give me a breakdown of the personal career game plan.
Ooh.
And then mine actually gave me like a 90-day plan.
That's cool.
Yeah, so then it broke it down between like 3 months, and then it basically like the first month is just like choosing like my statement, what I want to like focus on, and then start sharing stories similar to what my personal brand is for those like first month. And then the second month was like grow like a community, maybe start passing out like a freebie or whatever. And then month 3 is like to launch something like new, and then start tracking it with my community by getting, I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
we should revisit this in 3 months.
I know.
And see like what's changed.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
I know. I have to work on my like discipline, because I feel like I'm not very like.
I think you just have a lot going on right now. But I do see like big changes and big things coming your way soon.
I hope so.
I think things are going to change in 3 months, and we can revisit this.
I know.
Because our lives are going to be, I think, very different in 3 months.
Really? Yeah.
Well, if my psychic is correct about my love life.
That's true.
And if,
my
you know,
career.
your career is taking off like that's saying it will.
I hope so. Yeah, like I think by the time that we're filming this is maybe a couple weeks later that we're posting it.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. And you're gonna be gone for your trip too.
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna be gone for a while. So
yeah, so we'll revisit by the time that happens.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, this is interesting. Like
yeah, we'll do a part 2, everyone.
Yeah.
There's so much more we can dive into. But if you guys want to share your matrices with us, like leave it in the comments. I want to know like what your chart says about you, and tell us if you think it's accurate or not accurate.
Yeah, and let us know too if you guys like. I feel like this is such a girl thing that we love looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, I like looking at this numerology, zodiac, like astrology, moon, rising, everything. But I feel like I take everything with like a grain of salt because I'm also stubborn and I pick and choose which I want to believe. But I do find it interesting when you can like learn about yourself in like different ways, because obviously someone had to have created this whole system and find some truth about it. So I'm like open to hearing what it is. So yeah, let us know what your life path number is, what you felt like it's telling you for your career, your love life, and we'll see you guys next time. Oh yeah, and sign off wise. I forgot to include this too, but we have episodes every Tuesday. We release it on YouTube and Spotify. You can find us at justonebitepod. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.